Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. This is actually my first video. I did have a YouTube channel in the past, but it was mainly focused on like cameras and technology, and to be honest it was rather awkward. I always tried to make a script and I'm pretty useless in front of the camera. I'm right behind the camera, but in front I'm just a babbling mess. So this is going to be a far more candid kind of channel, and especially the topics. I want them to be very authentic and basically coming from the real me. So currently I'm still in Thailand. I had SRS or GRS, depending on how you want to title it, roughly 3 weeks ago. So I spent 7 nights in the hospital, and now I've been in the attached hotel, which is called like K Garden. So I've been here for 2 weeks, I would say. And today I wanted to talk about just preparing for dilation, because I think that's a topic that people always ask about, always have questions, and you always hear differing opinions. So I think the more opinions that we can get out there, the better. And then you can kind of pick and choose which one you feel resonates with you, and kind of compare and contrast the authentic views of the actual trans women with the actual views of the hospital and the doctors involved with your particular surgery. So let's get into it. Essentially with the dilation, as soon as you come out of the hospital, you're sent to like a clinic, which is actually attached to this hotel, sorry. So you go there at 8 AM and 1 PM. Each session goes for roughly 1 hour. But often it will actually take longer than the hour because they do a lot of cleaning and dressing and all this kind of preparation, and then eventually they end up teaching you as well. So be prepared for it to take 2 hours or 2.5 hours sometimes, especially if they have to take the stitches out. And I'll definitely cover the stitches in another video because that was rather traumatic. So in terms of the dilation, in the beginning, for the first say like week and a half to 2 weeks, the nurses, who are very well trained, very kind, although they don't speak much English, they're very they are communicative, and they will often speak into their phones using Google Translate, and that will give you their kind of opinion or their advice in English. And they're also more than happy to write down instructions for you as well in English, so hats off to them, they're amazing. So basically they'll do it for you. You don't have to do anything. You can just sit back, you can listen to music, you can shut your eyes, you can have a sleep, or if you're some sick bastard, you can look. But honestly, it's a bit gruesome. The swelling looks bad and it's a bit confronting, to be honest. So I didn't really look. I'm also put my headphones on, blasted the music to kind of dissociate, because it was quite painful and I was quite concerned with my results, which I'll also cover in another video. But basically once they've taught you at the little clinic, you're going to come back to your hotel room, and it's kind of at your discretion at what time you want to do the dilation. So for me, I did not stick to the 8 AM or the 1 PM. I like to sleep in, and I like to get things happening during the day. So for me personally, I've been doing it closer to like 9:30 AM, aiming for an hour with the dilator in. So I'm excluding any preparation time, which is what this video is going to be about, how to prepare for dilation. But so basically 9:30 AM to say 11 AM, then I'll go out and have some lunch, walk around a bit, maybe attend to some emails, just run some errands. And then normally that ends up dragging on because in Bangkok the traffic is pretty hectic. Even the public transport can be a bit intense. It's hard to get onto the SkyTrain because it gets that busy. So always a lot more time for that. So basically I lose a lot of time, I just wander off, my mind's a mess. Still a bit out of it since surgery. So then when I get back to the hotel, oftentimes it's going to be a lot later than 1 PM. Sometimes it's even 10 PM. So I'm dilating at 9:30 and at 10 PM. It's quite the departure from the 8 AM and the 1 PM. But I feel as long as you get at least 1 hour twice a day of the dilator actually in you, that should be fine. Hopefully, right? Basically now we're going to talk about the actual preparation. So once you've left the clinic and you're doing the dilation yourself, they leave you with a bit of equipment. Essentially they give you, it all starts off with this little pre-packaged, sterile plastic container. The container contains a little another plastic bowl, and in this bowl you're going to squirt 3 squirts of betadine, aka like iodine, and then the rest of it is going to be pure saline. You're just going to fill it to the brim. You're going to fill that, and then you're going to open another sterile container which contains this syringe. The syringe can be reused, so you could pull out the actual pushy bit and you can take it and run it in hot water and some soap or detergent or something like this. So that is reusable. The other thing, I would say it's single use. Even though they only gave me 2, I have been using it a bit just because I've been washing it and I haven't had the chance to obtain it anywhere else, but ideally you would just use it one time. So once you have the saline and the iodine betadine mixture, you're going to take the syringe, you're going to plunge it once, then you're going to find the entry and you're going to expel the water into the wound. You're then going to wait for that to leak out. You're going to go back to the mixture, go a second time, repeat the process. Then after that, you're going to go a third time. So in total, you're going 3 times with the syringe and you're filling it to the actual brim. That's all going to go inside you and that's going to disinfect and prepare you for the dilation. After you've done this, you're going to have 3 little cotton balls. Place all 3 of them into the remaining mixture. If you need to, top up the mixture a bit. Once they've soaked up a sufficient amount of the iodine, betadine and the saline mixture, you're then going to take one and you're going to take it from the top to the bottom. And this is going to go on the labia on one side, so let's say the right side. So you're going to pick it up, you're going to squeeze out a bit of the excess, you're going to place it at the very top and you're going to go down to the bottom, down to the actual opening wound. You're going to repeat this twice, so up, down, down. Then you're going to discard this to the side. Then you're going to reach back into the mixture and grab a second cotton ball. This cotton ball is going to go down the actual center in between the lips. You're going to do this twice and you're going to pay attention to actually go down to the actual wound opening. It's very important that this part is kept very clean. You're then going to discard this one, and now for the third and final one, you're going to repeat what you did in step 1. You're going to go to the outside labia and you're going to go from the top to the bottom, so 2 times, then you're going to discard this. Now, you're going to use these cotton buds. They're a bit different than the cotton buds we're used to. They're actually very long sticks with made out of wood, rather than the typical plastic ones which are double-ended. And the one end is actually a lot larger than a typical cotton bud. So you're going to dip all 3 of these into the mixture. Top it up again if you're running out. You're going to leave this maybe for 30 seconds just so it can soak up. These ones you don't need to squeeze out any excess as you do with the cotton balls. So you're going to repeat essentially the same process that you did with the cotton balls, except this time you're going to be holding it in a different way. You're going to be kind of coming from the front and it's going to be facing you. The ball is going to be facing you with the wood protruding out with the bare end facing away. You're going to go from the top to the bottom, paying attention to the canal twice, on the one on the right side, for example. Then you're going to pick up a new one, go to the center, top to the bottom, paying attention to the canal again. And then lastly, you're going to do the other side of the labia, say the left side, go from the top to the bottom, and each swipe you do twice. You're going to discard these. Now you're going to pour the excess remaining mixture just all around the area. It's going to be quite cold, so it's a bit of a shock. The first few times they did it in the clinic, it wasn't really comfortable, you know, it was a bit too cold, you know. Room temperature would have been ideal, possibly even warm, but not the icy cold kind of mixture they'd created, but that's all good. So once you've done this, all of this you're gonna have gloves on, by the way. A few times I actually forgot to put the gloves on, but luckily someone reminded me, or I came to my senses and put it on before I actually touched anything with my own hands. So this part is important, put the gloves on. And now you're gonna lube up your hand a little bit, maybe one finger, and you're gonna put it into the wound canal just to kind of prepare and open it up, ready for the actual dilation. Now you're gonna get the dilator. They come in various sizes, so depending on where you are in the stage, pick the appropriate one. For me, I'm onto the second one, and I'd say in roughly 5 days I'm going to move up to the third one. You roughly wait 7 to 10 days before moving up a size, and you've got to make sure that it's pain-free before you move up a size to avoid any damage. So I'm on the second one. So I grab the dilator, I wipe it down and make sure it's very sterile, and then I open up a condom. It's very important to place a condom on the dilator and not just use the dilator raw. So once the condom's on, I make sure it's nice and tight. I hold the base of the dilator with the condom in my thumb. Then I get the supplied jelly, which is KY jelly, I believe. Then I create just a line. You don't need too much, so just a single line. Then use one finger to move it around, and pay attention to place quite a lot of it around the tip. You don't necessarily need it at the base unless you have a very deep canal that's been created by your surgeon. For me, mine was only 6 inches and it's actually gone down a bit, which is a bit worrying. But on the other hand, it's quite simple and quick, so I don't need to force the whole thing in. I don't need too much lube. So then you're going to slowly place it in, but this time you're going to obviously be using the mirror. The mirror is quite crucial. Without the mirror, it's going to be really hard to see what you're doing, and you're probably going to strain your neck and your back. And it's important to be in a comfortable position where you can relax, because if you tense the muscles, it's going to be quite painful and it's not going to be a pleasant experience. So slowly with the dilator, you're going to push it into the surgically created canal. Definitely don't rush this, and make sure you're rather gentle. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Just push through the pain a bit, and then once it's in, it feels a lot better. It doesn't feel good, but it's not painful. If there's pain, definitely consult with your doctor in these early stages before you leave the surgery venue, or the country in this case. So once that's in you, I personally like to move it a bit, just side to side, up and down, in preparation for moving up to the bigger dilator size, because the one that I'm using is actually quite narrow. So I want to kind of widen things and relax things, so I experience less pain when I move up. So once it's in, you can take off the gloves at this point. Just get one of the little gauze squares that come in the pre-packaged sterilized package for the saline and iodine, and place one of them at the base of the dilator, and then just use your hand to hold it in place. When I was in the clinic, we're actually given these kind of like plastic strips. Your body weight and would go under your back, so your body weight would hold it in place, and then you would pull it up between your legs and hold it around your sternum, and you would have the plastic pulling on the base of the dilator, and this would keep it in place, and it was a lot easier to maneuver your arm and hold it and actually pull it a bit further, so you could actually increase the depth in a more ergonomic way rather than holding on to the end of it. Because it's only been a few days of me doing it myself, but having my hand out there kind of outstretched away from the body and my hand exerting so much pressure, it does get a bit tiring for your arm. So possibly Google a few ideas of what you can do with that if you don't have much upper body strength, or you tire easily, or you want to have like your hands free. So then you're in for an hour of the dilator in you. Honestly, the horror stories that I heard had me rather fearful, but it's actually not that bad. It's mainly going in, the few little pushes that you do throughout the hour to try and increase the depth, and then coming out it can feel a little bit weird. But honestly, it's not that bad. And I'm speaking quite soon, as I haven't tried the actual big boy sizes, I suppose you could term them. I'm only onto the second one, which is rather lacking in girth, but I think I'll get there. It's kind of been a rambling video. Just kind of wanted to, well, I have a lot of free time, so I wanted to kind of document and share with you guys my experience of having the SRS GRS kind of in Thailand, or because it's applicable to any country, but I wanted to share my entire journey with you. And I will be going back and making topics, the videos covering topics into every single aspect, all the way from telling my family, telling my doctor, finding a psychologist that was specialized in gender issues in order to then get a referral from my doctor, who wanted that letter from the psychologist before referring me to the gender specialist psychiatrist, which took over like 2 years, to coming out to my extended family, my friends, my workplace, my university, talking about dating, talking about friendship, talking about social issues, the wider community. This channel I intend to really cover everything that encompasses being trans in this kind of modern day setting. This is just an intro video. I'm still kind of out of it with all this kind of pain, dissociation, bit of trauma from the hospital experience, which I'll cover. But I wanted to make a start because I have a lot of free time on my hands, and I wanted to kind of give back to the community and provide more like a learning experience and share my personal journey in case it can help anyone else. So thanks for watching, and I hope we can talk soon. So I really wanted to share my experience. I don't think my experience overrules anyone else's experience, but I believe strongly that the more experiences that we share in total, the more chances that the viewer can actually find someone's story that they resonate with, and the more information is always the better. So I'm not saying this is the truth that overrides everyone else or someone else is wrong. The channel's about my experience. I want to give back and help those that are at all stages of their transition journey. Thailand's been a great place. Although it is really hot, there's a lot to do. The culture is amazing. The people are so friendly and helpful. And really, if you just love like people watching or nature even, shopping, city life, hectic traffic, museums, architecture, and definitely like shrines and religious kind of buildings, it's an amazing place. Oh, and I forgot to mention the food. The food is honestly incredible. The first few days that I was here, I was a bit hesitant and I was eating more like Western food. But then I found the internal courage and I ate some of the street food, and gosh, it is really amazing. Like, I never want to leave. The quality, the flavor, and the price, they're truly incredible. It's honestly the place to be if you're a food junkie, and I love eating. When people ask me what my hobbies are, I share all of my hobbies, but the one that I share the most and the one that I find the most humorous is I just love trying new food. Even in my home city, I always love trying new food. Brings me a lot of joy, and like if I can just have like one nice meal a day, like a new experience or a new flavor, or go to my favorite place, I feel like that's a life well lived. So Thailand's been really amazing, and today, so there's always something to do in Thailand. Even though I've been recovering, I've had a pretty big day. First of all, I did the dilation, obviously. Then I had to go to my embassy to get some documents notarized. That was quite an experience. It was like walking into a prison. It was so secure. But then once you get into like the secure enclave, the architecture was stunning. There was like water features. There was lovely like murals, sculptures, and everything to do with my home country. It was quite expensive though. It was around $400 just to get some documents stamped and signed, but I needed them, so I did it anyway. But like roughly that would be enough for an entire month of stay within Thailand, just to put it into perspective. But after that, I had to go and pick up a camera from my outside. And then after my time at the embassy, I went and picked up a microphone for the camera that I purchased the day previously. This was a good experience, and even though there's some English barriers, with the help of Google Translate, you can pretty much communicate with anyone and you definitely get the outcome that you want. I was also hoping to pick up a battery because I only have one battery for this camera, and if I'm recording outside, it's likely to go flat, but they said that's going to take another week, which is no problem because I have another month here. But then after that, I went and tried some food, and we always have a bit of drama like getting around because we love to use the Grab app, but sometimes it's very hit and miss. Like, you can order a cab and it will say it'll be there in like 3 minutes, and you can be waiting 20 minutes and the car won't have moved and the person's not responding, and it says if you cancel the ride, you're going to get lower preference in terms of finding a new ride in future. So it kind of locks you into just waiting, especially in this heat. It's pretty bad, and also with like the pain of standing for protracted periods of time, it's not a nice experience, you know, heat plus pain, and also the kind of stress and the trauma and the emotional baggage you hold after surgery. Like, you want to make sure you're pretty organised on the transportation front. So as I said, after we went to the embassy, we went to the shopping centre, and the shopping centres are very confusing here. They have very similar names, they all look very similar inside, and they often have the same shops, but I need to go to a specific shop where I'd previously bought something that the guy was kind enough to order in the microphone, so that took about another 2 hours. And then once you're in the city area, there's not as much street food. Most of that is in the outer suburbs. So in this instance, we had to go to McDonald's. And personally, I felt like that was a wasted lunchtime, as I could have tried a new street food, but instead I had McDonald's, which I could just eat anytime in my home country. So that was a bit of a waste of time. But then after that, we did something amazing. We went to probably the coolest aquarium that I've ever been in, and I saw some really cool like fish, or maybe sharks, I'm not sure. Any marine biologists, you can chime in. But it was basically a cross between a shark, a stingray / manta ray, and like a swordfish. So it had like a very big central kind of body with kind of extended fins. They were a lot wider and more incorporated into the body than a usual shark. And then it had like the tail and the back fins of a shark, but then its nose or snout kind of protruded out, and it had like a long bone, and then it had teeth coming out. It was very like symmetrical. It looked like almost man-made. It didn't look very organic, but it was mesmerizing seeing these sharks up close. And then they had lots of sand tiger sharks, otherwise known as grey noses, I believe. I've seen them before, but just the overall setup of this place with the window placement and the tunnels, it meant that I could get really, really close to these amazing fish. Then I also saw these really weird like eels or something. They were pretty daunting. And then that was actually in the mangrove exhibit. So to my knowledge, I believe mangroves are very murky water and rather shallow. So I was like, my God, imagine like just traversing the countryside. You just step into like some knee or waist deep water and this massive eel is there. Like, that's pretty scary. Even the catfish were pretty amazing. They were massive. Definitely haven't seen ones like those in my home country. And then after this, I went to look for a light stand and a ring light, because it's quite dark in here. I'm sitting at the desk currently, which is really the only place to set up the little tripod. But it has this kind of long protrusion coming out where the TV backs onto, and there's no light in this particular area, like literally no interior lights. So the sun can't penetrate past the TV cabinet, and there's no artificial lighting, so I had to buy this light. And when we were there, we walked around, spoke to a few people. There was like, can I help you with something? Can I help you with something? It's almost like they were reciting the same script. But they mean well, and they're nice and friendly. So we ended up buying a second power bank. As I said, I often find myself on these kind of protracted journeys during the day in between the dilation. This power bank, it was apparently original and made in Thailand, meaning that it comes with a warranty. So the guy gave us a business card and said we could bring it back, which is kind of what I was aiming for in terms of getting the warranty, because we purchased a speaker there at the beginning of the trip and it broke after a week. And even yesterday when I bought the light stand, that already kind of broke. As soon as I got it out of the package, it was already kind of a defect. But because this place is such a labyrinth, I had no idea where to go back to, so kind of forced it open. I'm going to make it work. And then whilst I was there, I saw an amazing deal on like an S23 Ultra. I had the S23, and the guy let me trade it in, and it was cheaper than if I was going to trade it into Samsung and buy it there. So I just went for it, especially because it has the stylus, so now I can mark up things for uni or for work. So that's amazing. And then we went to this Korean place. It looked very aesthetically pleasing and like a real nice vibe. But then as soon as we get there, they mess up our order. So that was a bit of a red flag. The fact that no one else was really there, especially no locals. It was all like foreign people. I guess they just got enticed by like the neon lights and the cool aesthetic and vibe of the place. So it took like an hour to get the second dish, and then by then my traveling partner wasn't vibing it, so they had left. So then here's me having to eat a second dish, or at least a bit of it. And then I was feeling like very spicy, so I asked if they have any water, and then there's a little translation issue. Like 10 minutes of back and forth, eventually the manager comes out, hands me a drink, and then I'm kind of worried because it's in like actual water bottle. I was like, can't I just get some water in a cup? I just need like a bit of water. What about even just ice? Just any kind of liquid or soon to be liquid would be more than adequate. And then they tell me that I have to pay for the water bottle, but I'm like, can't I just get any free water? And they're like, no. So that was a bit upsetting. Like, first of all, they mess up the order. It takes them an hour to fix that. And then they won't even give any complimentary water. In my home country, you get table water for free, and the cost of living is far more expensive there. Fair enough, the pay is also higher. But this wasn't really a local place. This is something catered to like Western audiences. So I was like, why can't they just give table water? It doesn't need to be sparkling. It can just be like flat water. I suppose they're kind of worried about using the tap water, which does make sense, but surely they can provide some complimentary water. So that was a bit frustrating. And then after that, we just kind of walked around, took in the sights, tried some more street food finally. Had these really amazing sausages and these other kind of things, which I'm not quite sure what they were, but they were wrapped in like bacon. the Thai people really love like foods on sticks. I guess you call them kebabs, which is quite incredible. And then we wanted to get some more luggage, so we went and we got another Grab. This time they actually showed up and they were very friendly. We went to Khao San Road. While I was there, they also touched up the tattoo, which is why I'm not wearing much makeup. Initially they wanted to charge me 1,000 baht, but I went and spoke to the person that actually does the tattoos, and I've been talking on Instagram, so I guess we're like somewhat acquaintances. And they did it for free, which was amazing. And let me tell you, it was far more painful than when they initially did it. I'm not sure if I've suddenly lost my pain tolerance after the surgery, because I got it done before the surgery, but it was hard not to move. I was fearful that I was gonna like jerk back, and then I was gonna end up with like a line across the face. But they did it and it looks fine, and I'm very pleased, as it was falling out after less than a month. In fact, when I was in the hospital, which was less than a week after I got it, someone pointed it out and I was like, my god, like I have to live with this. But the benefit could be, if it falls out, I don't need to pay for laser tattoo removal, and it can be easily covered by makeup, yet also somewhat there without makeup. So perhaps maybe I should let it fall out, because you know, face tattoos are job stoppers, kids. Don't get them. Same as hand tattoos, but the face is 10 times worse. We bought a new luggage bag. It's always important to shop around. Don't just go to the first place. Even if you go to the first place and they show you that they're going to discount you the price, at least go to one more place that isn't affiliated or connected. But go to that place and just find out roughly how much they would do it for. Then you can establish the going market rate. So we eventually went to 4 places and we ended up getting a good deal. And the bag's quite decent. It's because we accumulated so much stuff while we're here. Like everything's so cheap. I ended up with like 4 Kanken bags. So I brought one with me. Then I brought a big one, a small one, and a bum bag. So now I have 4 Kanken bags. And when I bought the laptop, they gave me a bag. And then before that, I bought a backpacking bag. And I also brought 2 bags with me. I think I have a bag problem. But essentially, that's just the bag front of things. We bought so many clothes, so many random things, like some little like teddies and clip-on like little mini teddies for bags, and it's just random stuff. Like I bought this this phone stand. I can put it up. Like that's gonna take up room. I bought a mouse. I bought a mouse pad. They gave me a free like cooling deck stand thing for the laptop. Like that's gonna take space. And I got the light stand and the little ring light. Like shit, this stuff's gonna take up a lot of space. So we definitely needed a second bag. I'm hoping I can shove everything in there, because it's gonna be hard to kind of traverse the country, especially to like Chiang Mai, which is like 12 hours away, if we don't have everything in like 2 self-contained bags. I don't really want to be carrying like 5 backpacks on a train without the opportunity to like put it in a car or somewhere safe. So just one bag, and just wheel it on, put it under the seat, keep an eye on it. I'm not gonna forget it on the train. That's what I do. So it was good that we got that. And then when we were there, they had the alligator meat. Personally, not for me. They also had scorpions as well. But I went to a kebab place, and it was honestly quite amazing. I don't mean like a kebab like the food on the sticks. This is like a kind of Middle Eastern kebab. But I used this chicken and a lot of salad, and it was really fresh. So like in the heat, it was quite a good choice. Then after that, we got a third Grab. And this time the guy was really nice. Like we kind of had a bit of a confusing start due to the kind of traffic and all the cars looking the same. So I ended up tipping the guy. And he didn't want to take it at first, but then he took it, and it's always nice when you can just give back or give a little more, because these people work so hard for their money. And with the kind of exchange rates and everything, it doesn't cost us too much. So anything we can give extra, just to show like appreciation and help them out, I think you should give it, say like 20, 50, 100 baht. Like that's pretty much nothing for most people in a Western country, but it can really make someone's day. So it's important to always give back and help those that you think you can help. Obviously don't get taken advantage of, and don't do it all the time. Like know your limits, but try and be giving, give back to society, you know. We're all gotta look after each other. Apart from that, the day was good. Apart from that, like there's not much else that really happened. Like that's a lot that happened in one day, including like the 2 hours minimum of dilation. But tomorrow I'm going to hopefully talk about how so that's quite a long ramble of what I did today, along with little videos and photos, but I like to give context and give someone kind of like the full picture of what life is like here in Thailand after SRS or GRS. I hope the dilation preparation has been insightful and kind of imparts some knowledge on all of you about kind of the process, what to expect, the good, the bad, the ugly, just the whole thing. And then I wanted to finish off by saying that tomorrow I'm hopefully going to make a video about how I knew I was trans, or basically how I discovered or had the realization that I was trans. For me, it's kind of a unique story. It doesn't really fit the narrative that I hear most of the time from other trans women or trans men. So I think it's important to get that side of the story out there in case it can resonate with anyone else. Because trans people come in all shapes and sizes and kind of expressions. You don't necessarily have to fit into A, B, or C. You could fit into B and C at different times of your life, or even different times of the week. Gender's a spectrum, and it's not a firm kind of black and white thing, you know. So I'm going to make that video tomorrow, and hopefully that can help some more people. And then each day while I'm here, I'm going to keep making videos about the SRS, GRS kind of journey. I'm going to go into a lot of detail. I want this to be an unedited, raw, kind of uncut expose of the entire process. I'm not going to be reading scripts. I'm not going to be cutting this up too much. And I'm not going to sanitize the story. People need to know the truth of what they're getting into, and to really appreciate how serious it is, and just how life-altering it can be and is for the majority of people. So each day I'm going to be making a new video, and I hope you subscribe, but you don't have to. You can just type in the little username, channel name, check out the content as you wish. But I'm hoping to really build this up as a good community resource for trans people. It's not just going to be about surgery. It's going to be about everything. Like I said, it's going to be about dating. It's going to be about the medical side of things, such as doctor's appointments, getting hormones, psychological side of things, such as counseling, psychiatrists, self-realization, those kind of things, acceptance, gender dysphoria, coming out, contemporary societal discourse in terms of trans and wider LGBTQIA, obviously minus the T because we just talked about the trans discourse, but basically everything to do with that queerness. It's really going to be an all-encompassing channel, and I have a lot of free time in my hands now, so I'm going to be making videos every single day. And comment below if there's like a certain topic you want to see, because I will definitely make it for you. I'm an open book, and you can also message me on Instagram or on YouTube. I'm not sure if you can message on YouTube, but leave a comment without your contact details or whatever, and I'm more than happy to answer anything and everything. Nothing's a taboo, nothing's off topic, nothing's off limits. I'm here to help. I will share anything and everything. So thanks for tuning in. It's been a long rant. This is my very first video. As I said, normally I'm behind the camera shooting like wedding videos, corporate events, and like birthdays and such, so it's a bit awkward to talk in front of the camera, but I foresee that it'll improve and the videos will become more polished. But like I said, I do want it to be raw and uncut and from the heart. I don't want to read from a script like a teleprompter or something. I want it to be very authentic. I want to really show the true me and the true gravity of all the situations. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow, and I hope this video helps a lot.